Chinese calligraphy is a form of calligraphy widely practiced in China and revered in the Chinese cultural sphere, which often includes Japan, Taiwan, Korea and Vietnam. The calligraphic tradition of East Asia originated and developed from China. There is a general standardization of the various styles of calligraphy in this tradition. Chinese calligraphy and ink and wash painting are closely related, since they are accomplished using similar tools and techniques. Chinese painting and calligraphy distinguish themselves from other cultural arts because they emphasize motion and are charged with dynamic life. According to Stanley-Baker, calligraphy is sheer life experienced through energy and motion that is registered as traces on silk or paper, with time and rhythm and shifting space its main ingredients. Calligraphy has also led to the development of many forms of art in China, including seal carving, ornate paperweights, and inkstones. Definition and classification. Names. The local name for calligraphy is Shafce cubed in China, literally the way of writing. Shodai in Japan, literally the way principle of writing. And Sewai in Korea, literally the skill criterion of writing. The calligraphy of Chinese characters is an important and appreciated aspect of Chinese culture. Chinese calligraphy is normally regarded as one of the arts in the countries where it is practiced. As a practice, as a discipline, calligraphy is, at the basic level, a pursuit I1/4 cubed pinyin, Shafce, the rules of writing hand characters I1/4 focused on writing well. Students aim to obtain the writing characteristics of exemplary pieces of writing. Elementary school students practice calligraphy in this way, as do elders practicing temporary calligraphy, without aspiring to artistic creation. As an art, calligraphy is also considered an art I1/4 e/Permel eo pinyin, Ya Sha to the first, a relatively recent word meaning art, where works are appreciated more or only for their aesthetic qualities. Evolution and styles. Ancient China, Chinese characters can be retraced to 4000 BC signs. In 2003, at the site of Xiaoshuanglai, about 20 kilometers southeast of the ancient Shang city, ceramic inscriptions dating to 1435–1412 BC have been found by archaeologists. These writings are made in cinnabar paint. Thus, the dates of writing in China have been confirmed for the Middle Shang period. The ceramic ritual vessel vats that bear these cinnabar inscriptions were all unearthed within the palace area of this site. They were unearthed mostly in the sacrificial pits holding cow skulls and cow horns, but also in other architectural areas. The inscriptions are written on the exterior and interior of the rim, and the exterior of the belly of the large type of vats. The characters are mostly written singly. Character compounds or sentences are rarely seen. The contemporary Chinese characters set principles were clearly visible in ancient China's Jik-Ji Siwak copyright N characters carved on ox scapulars and tortoise plastrons around 14th–11th century BCE. Brush-written examples decay over time and have not survived. During the divination ceremony, after the cracks were made, characters were written with a brush and the shell or bone to be later carved. Cately, 1978. With the development of JNWA copyright N and DAOs when cursive signs continued. Moreover, each archaic kingdom of current China had its own set of characters. Imperial China. In Imperial China, the graphs on old steels are some dating from 200 BC, and in Xian's Huan style are still accessible. In about 220 BC, the Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the first to conquer the entire Chinese basin, imposed several reforms, among them Li Si's character unification, which created a set of 3,300 standardized Zhikoutsua characters. Despite the fact that the main writing implement of the time was already the brush, little paper survives from this period, and the main examples of this style are on steels. The La Sha style, which is more regularized, and in some ways similar to modern text, were also authorized under Qin Shi Huang. Xia style still in use today and attributed to Wang Shizai and his followers, is even more regularized. Its spread was encouraged by Emperor Mingzong of later Tang, who ordered the printing of the classics using new wooden blocks and cashew. Printing technologies here allowed shapes to stabilize. The Cursive shape of characters 1,000 years ago was mostly similar to that at the end of Imperial China. But small changes have been made, for example in the shape of Ada I, which is not absolutely the same in the Kangxi dictionary of 1716 as in modern books. The Kangxi and current shapes have tiny differences, while stroke order is still the same, according to old style. Styles which did not survive include Ba-Fo-Nsha, a mix of 80% Xiaohuan style and 20% Lissu. Some variant Chinese characters were unorthodox or locally used for centuries. They were generally understood but always rejected in official texts. Some of these unorthodox variants, in addition to some newly created characters, were incorporated in the simplified Chinese character set. Cursive styles and handwritten styles. Cursive styles such as Zhao and Ccosha are less constrained and faster, where more movements made by the writing implement are visible. These styles' stroke orders vary more, sometimes creating radically different forms. They are descended from clerical script, in the same time as regular script, but Zhao and Ccosha were used for personal notes only, and were never used as standard. Cursive style was highly appreciated during the reign of Emperor Wu of Han. Printed and computer styles. Examples of modern printed styles are Song from the Song dynasty's printing press, and sans serif. These are not considered traditional styles, and are normally not written. Materials and tools. The ink brush, ink, paper, and inkstone are essential implements of Chinese calligraphy. They are known together as the four treasures of the study. In addition to these four tools, a water dropper, desk pads and paperweights are also used by calligraphers. Brush. The brush is traditional writing implement in Chinese calligraphy. The body of the brush can be made from either bamboo, or rarer materials such as red sandalwood, glass, ivory, silver, and gold. The head of the brush can be made from the hair of a wide variety of animals, including the weasel, rabbit, deer, chicken, duck, goat, pig, tiger, wolf, etc. There is also a tradition in both China and Japan of making a brush using the hair of a newborn, as a once-in-a-lifetime souvenir for the child. This practice is associated with the legend of an ancient Chinese scholar who scored first in the imperial examinations by using such a personalized brush. Calligraphy brushes are widely considered an extension of the calligrapher's arm. Today, calligraphy may also be done using a pen. Paper. Paper nowadays is frequently sold together with a paperweight and desk pad. Paper. Special types of paper are used in Chinese calligraphy. In China, Xunzi, traditionally made in Anhui province, is the preferred type of paper. It is made from the Tatar wingletis, as well as other materials including rice, the paper mulberry, bamboo, hemp, etc. In Japan, washi is made from the kozo, ganpi, and michimata, as well as other materials such as bamboo, rice, and wheat. Paperweights. Paperweights are used to hold down paper. A paperweight is often placed at the top of all but the largest pages to prevent slipping. For smaller pieces, the left hand is also placed at the bottom of the page for support. Paperweights come in several types. Some are oblong wooden blocks carved with calligraphic or pictorial designs. Others are essentially small sculptures of people or animals. Like inkstones, paperweights are collectible works of art on their own right. Desk pads. The desk pad is a pad made of felt. Some are printed with grids on both sides, so that when it is placed under the translucent paper, it can be used as a guide to ensure correct placement and size of characters. However, these printed pads are used only by students. Both desk pads and the printed grids come in a variety of sizes. Ink and inkstick. The ink is made from lampblack and binders, and comes in ink sticks which must be rubbed with water on an inkstone until the right consistency is achieved. Much cheaper, pre-mixed bottled inks are now available, but these are used primarily for practice as stick inks are considered higher quality and chemical inks are more prone to bleeding over time, making them less suitable for use in hanging scrolls. Learning to rub the ink is an essential part of calligraphy study. Traditionally, Chinese calligraphy is written only in black ink, but modern calligraphers sometimes use other colors. Calligraphy teachers use a bright orange or red ink with which they write practice characters on which students trace, or to correct students' work. Inkstone made from stone, ceramic, or clay from the banks of the Yellow River. Inkstone is used to grind the solid ink stick into liquid ink and to contain the ink once it is liquid. Chinese inkstones are highly prized as art objects and an extensive bibliography is dedicated to their history and appreciation, especially in China. Seal and seal paste equals. Calligraphic works are usually completed by the calligrapher putting his or her seal at the very end, in red ink. The seal serves the function of a signature. Technique, principles. The shape, size, stretch and type of hair in the brush, the color and density of the ink, as well as the absorptive speed and surface texture of the paper are the main physical parameters influencing the final result. The calligrapher also influences the result by the quantity of ink water he lets the brush take up, then by the pressure, inclination, and direction he gives to the brush, producing thinner or bolder strokes, and smooth or toothed borders. Eventually, the speed, acceleration and deceleration of the writer's moves, turns, and crochets, and the stroke order give the spirit to the characters by influencing greatly their final shape. Study. Traditionally, the bulk of the study of calligraphy is composed of copying strictly exemplary works from the apprentice's master or from reputed calligraphers, thus learning them by rote. The master showing the right way to draw items, which the apprentice have to copy strictly, continuously, until the move becomes instinctive and the copy perfect. Deviation from the model is seen as a failure. Competency in a particular style often requires many years of practice. Correct strokes, stroke order, character structure, balance, and rhythm are essential in calligraphy. A student would also develop their skills in traditional Chinese arts, as familiarity and ability in the arts contributes to their calligraphy. Since the development of regular script, nearly all calligraphers have started their study by imitating exemplary models of regular script. A beginning student may practice writing the character E degree for its abundance of different kinds of strokes and difficulty in construction. The 8 principles of Yong refers to the 8 different strokes in the character, which some argue summarizes the different strokes in regular script. How the brush is held depends on the calligrapher and which calligraphic genre is practiced. Commonly, the brush is held vertically straight gripped between the thumb and middle finger. The index finger lightly touches the upper part of the shaft of the brush while the ring and little fingers tuck under the bottom of the shaft, leaving a space inside of the palm. Alternatively, the brush is held in the right hand between the thumb and the index finger, very much like a Western pen. A calligrapher may change his or her grip depending on the style and script. For example, a calligrapher may grip higher for cursive and lower for regular script. In Japan, smaller pieces of Japanese calligraphy are traditionally written while in Caesar. In modern times, however, writers frequently practice calligraphy seated on a chair at a table. Larger pieces may be written while standing. In this case the paper is usually placed directly on the floor, but some calligraphers use an easel. Basic calligraphy instruction is part of the regular school curriculum in both China and Japan, and specialized programs of study exist at the higher education level in China, Korea, and Japan. In contemporary times, debate emerged on the limits of this copyist tradition within the modern art scenes, where innovation is the rule, while changing lifestyles, tools, and colors are also influencing new waves of masters. Chinese calligraphy is being promoted in Chinese schools to counter character amnesia brought on by technology usage. Evaluation and appreciation. What is considered good calligraphy often varies depending on individual preferences. However, there are established traditional rules which cannot be violated. Violation of these rules will render a calligraphic work unable to be considered good calligraphy. Those who repeatedly violate these rules are not considered legitimate calligraphers. Among these rules are, the characters must be written correctly. A correctly written character is composed in a way that is accepted as correct by legitimate calligraphers. Calligraphic works often use variant Chinese characters, which are deemed correct or incorrect case by case, but in general, more popular variants are more likely to be correct. Correct characters are written in the traditional stroke order and not a modern standard. The characters must be legible. As calligraphy is the method of writing well, a calligraphic work must be recognizable as script, and furthermore be easily legible to those familiar with the script style, although it may be illegible to those unfamiliar with the script style. For example, many people cannot read cursive, but a calligraphic work in cursive can still be considered good if those familiar with cursive can read it. The characters must be concise. This is in contrast to Western calligraphy where flourishes are acceptable and often desirable. Good Chinese calligraphy must be unadorned script. It must also be in black ink unless there is a reason to write in other ink. The characters must fit their context. All reputable calligraphers in China were well educated and well read. In addition to calligraphy, they were skilled in other areas, most likely painting, poetry, music, opera, martial arts, and chess. Therefore, their abundant education contributed to their calligraphy. A calligrapher practicing another calligrapher's characters would always know what the text means, when it was created, and in what circumstances. When they write, their character's shape and weight agrees with the rhythm of the phrases, especially in less constrained styles such as semi-cursive and cursive. One who does not know the meaning of the characters they write, but varies their shape and weight on a whim, does not produce good calligraphy. The characters must be aesthetically pleasing. Generally, characters that are written correctly, legibly, concisely, and in the correct context are also aesthetically pleasing to some degree. Characters that violate the above rules are often less aesthetically pleasing. Influences = Japanese and Korean calligraphers = Japanese and Korean people developed specific sensibilities and styles of calligraphies, as well as applying to specific scripts. Japanese calligraphy extends beyond Han characters to also include local scripts such as hiragana and katakana. In the case of Korean calligraphy, the Handwritten and the existence of the circle required the creation of a new technique. The existence of temporary calligraphy is also to be noted. This is the practice of water-only calligraphy on the floor which dries out within minutes. This practice is especially appreciated by the new generation of retired Chinese in public parks of China. Other arts calligraphy has influenced ink and wash painting, which is accomplished using similar tools and techniques. Calligraphy has influenced most major art styles in East Asia, including ink and wash painting, a style of Chinese, Korean, Japanese painting, and Vietnamese painting based entirely on calligraphy. Notable calligraphers: Hui Shuoi, Wang Shitsai cc 3/4 squared r to the first, Wang Xianzi cc r to the first, Wang Zun cc pound, Wang Zun e unregistered trademark 1/2 e, Yu Shinan e unregistered trademark a, Chu Suiliang e currency Shi Permil Emperor Taizong of Tang a registered trademark, e degree, Zhang Zhu 1/4 micron e, Yanzeng King e Kaya Hiaisu e c, Liu Gungan a cubedish, Kai Xiang en, Sushi e 3/4, Huang Tingin e Mifu c plus or minus cubed e, Emperor Huizong of Song a registered trademark a 3/4 1/2 a registered trademark, e paragraph unregistered trademark a 1/2 paragraph, Emperor Ganozong of Song a registered trademark e a registered trademark, e paragraph unregistered trademark e section, Saw Menfu e paragraph unregistered trademark e, Nizana Eurosh, Tang Yinea, Wenzhongming e a 3/4 micron e Donkishang a paragraph a, Huang or Hing e Florin e plus or minus a Wang Duo ce Zhangzai e registered trademark. Gallery. See also, calligraphy, Chinese art, Chinese calligraphy. Chinese character, East Asian script styles, 8 principles of Yong, ink and wash painting, Japanese art, Japanese calligraphy. Korean art, Korean calligraphy. Songti, stroke order, 3 perfections, integration of calligraphy, poetry and painting, wanton font, Vietnamese art. References, internal. External links, Chinese calligraphy, Tao of Calligraphy in English and Mandarin Chinese, Chinese Calligraphy at China Online Museum, Chinese calligraphy, styles of Chinese calligraphy, models of Chinese calligraphy, generator of Chinese calligraphy model, history of Chinese calligraphy, history of calligraphy in Vietnam. Basic calligraphy styles from Taoism contains introductory comparisons of different calligraphy styles of basic characters. The history of Chinese calligraphy at beyondcalligraphy.com, introduction of Chinese ground calligraphy Ordishu, Milchina.